This conference will now be recorded.
All righty. This is Novo Manna, and welcome again to the Technology Review Council. Today we have the pleasure of hearing from DigitalYalo, and that's Scott Efferson and Arnold Huffman. So, Arnold, I'm going to pass this over to you and for control, and unless that's already been done.
Yeah, I think I've got the control.
Yep.
If everybody
You have the controls. Sounds good. Well, again, thank you. Welcome, everybody, and I'll let you just get going.
Sounds good. Appreciate it, Nov. My name's Arnold Huffman, CEO, founder here at Yalo. I got a couple slides just to give you a little color on who Yalo is, and then we'll hit a couple slides about our virtual events as a service platform. And then we'll jump right into the demo with Scott, myself, and we have another member of our team on the line, Chris Moe. He plays an actor in many roles and wears many hats throughout this demo. The way we deliver the demo is kind of as if Scott were an attendee moving throughout an actual event. And so participating and taking part in the different engagement activities that the platform offers. So you'll see him kind of moving through the event as if he were an attendant at an actual event. So without further delay, let me make sure we can migrate the slides. So Yalo means soul in Fiji, if you were wondering, and phonetically, Yalo is how we say it. But our role in working with clients is really to help clients better express or better exude their brands. We have a unique approach of using film, art, music, and sports to kind of tap into that human experience in order to create unique elements for our clients' brands. At the end of the day, our goal is to create a unique or differentiated feeling that creates a tangible connection and leaves an unforgettable impression. We have been in business for 8 years. We are based in Atlanta with another portion of our team in Cleveland with a few other resources throughout the country. We've had over 100 clients and over 300 projects and received some awards for our work over the years as well. We do provide a wide range of services as we consider ourselves a full service digital agent or full service marketing agency. We started out primarily as digital capabilities, but have expanded what I would say left and right of that, to the left of that being research and strategy, and to the right of that being more analog printed physical pieces as well. In the digital space, you know, all things related to digital, web, campaign, social media, things of that nature. And in this case, doing events, working with our clients, we've developed this platform you'll see today around our virtual events as a new capability in the digital space for our clients. So kind of reverting back to talking about our approach being film, art, music, sports space, we do kind of leverage those things in order to come up with our ideas. So a play on that, right? Talking Heads is a band, but not a marketing strategy. And so our goal is really to work with our clients to create better experiences for their customers. Drive, elevate, move is kind of our tagline. The idea is really to drive change, elevating your brand and moving the needle in terms of results. Our team is programmed to listen very well and create breakout capabilities, act fast, and deliver those through compelling, original, and thoughtful work. So as an example of how we apply our approach of film, art, music, sports, this is one sample of that. As we begin our work with our clients, we do look to go through a creative exercise, and even in our virtual events, there's a creative exercise to really identify the brand aesthetic and the attitude and the overall customer experience that we want to create for the attendees to that event. As we go through that process, as I call it, we're gathering the hopes, dreams, and expectations with our clients about what they want this project to be, and in this case, a virtual event. When we get to the end of that conversation, it amounts to a bunch of words on paper. Our job is really to then take those words and distill them down to a central attitude or emotion that's going to be conveyed throughout that event. And the way we do that is to have a conversation with our clients about, if this event were a song, what song would this be? And that helps us create that creative and emotional centerpiece that becomes the driving force for all the decisions and the ideas that we come forward with in making your event, outstanding. We also work very closely with our clients around telling their story. And so, again, key to having a virtual event would be the delivering of that story in the best way, in the best capable light, right? So we have a very clear exercise in maximizing the differentiation of your brand and of your service and capabilities, so that that story comes across in a engaging way, and one that people will stand up and take notice. So our team is a broad mix of different skill sets: designers, writers, project managers, developers. We certainly have every skill set needed to deliver an event, and even a data scientist, because since these events are digital, we're able to track people's movements and activities in various ways and be able to provide that information for future engagement. One of the things we do take pride in is our work with our clients, and you'll hear me talk about when we discuss the virtual events, is that we partner with our clients as a full service partner to them in these events. And we do so not only in events, but on other projects as well, whether it be a website or a campaign or what have you. Ultimately, our goal is to deliver great work, really have and cultivate a partnership with our clients and deliver that value. So I think our 98% client success rate, I think, speaks to that. This is our case of where we've either done multiple projects and/or had multi-month relationships with clients 98% of the time. Our approach when we start kind of down the path of working with a client, there's kind of three pieces to that, as we call it the 3 C's: communications, content, and channels. Communications is that telling of the story, making it differentiated. The content is how we're going to deliver that. Again, in the virtual event context, that is an important factor in the sense of how it gets conveyed and delivered throughout the event. And that's more than just words, but visuals, graphics, tone, etc. And then lastly, our work with a lot of other clients beyond even events incorporates lots of different channels. So social media, email, physical mailers, even things of that nature to communicate that communication and content. Just a little bit about the things that we've been able to accomplish with and for our clients. A number of awards, having won best in category out of 350 websites recently. Here in Georgia, we are the agency of the year for the 2nd time out of the last 3 years, and a few others on this page. So with that, that's the quick flyby about who we are as Yalo. The next step here I'll take you through is talking about our virtual events platform specifically, and kind of giving you the highlights, and then we'll transition into the demo. So as COVID hit and the pandemic came along, right, a lot of clients that we had worked with in the event space, having helped them design physical booths and other elements for physical events, including ideating their whole hospitality events if they were hosting customers, transitioned obviously to a state where physical events and in-person events no longer existed. So many of our clients started to ask us, hey, how can we have a different channel, a different way to connect with that audience that we're not going to be seeing this year in those traditional conferences. So as we've dubbed it, when the show absolutely positively must go on. So to talk a little bit about the virtual event as a service and its key underpinnings. So first and foremost, who's this for? Really, we've developed this for companies and organizations and corporations that want to connect with their audience and their customers. We don't necessarily work with the events and the conferences themselves, but more of our conversation is really with individual corporations looking to make their own connections with the audience. It is a turnkey solution that is fully brandable, and we'll talk and show you that. That means logos, colors, fonts, graphics, imagery, etc., all can be tailored to fit and match the brand aesthetic that you want to deliver. It is delivered in a virtual environment, which means digital and online. And the root of it is being able to create a space that replicates what you would participate in an in-person event, in the way of being able to transfer, free-flowing transfer of ideas amongst multiple constituents, the attendees, the speakers, as well as third-party sponsors. I mentioned it is an online event, which means it's delivered through a browser. What that means is that it works on desktop, laptop, tablet, and mobile. Mobile is a little bit of a tough form factor, especially if you're attending a multi-hour event. So it certainly is more engaging if participating via tablet or laptop computer. Another thing that it being delivered as through the browser is that once you're registered and logged in, that there are no other passwords, meeting numbers, etc. to know once you're in. You can navigate friction-free, as we call it, throughout the event. The other thing that comes along with it being browser delivered is that there are no other widgets or other pieces of technology to download to be able to participate either. You just log in and you're into the entire event. It takes about 6 weeks to set up an event. So that's kind of the lead time on average. And we'll talk a little bit about the next, how we look at these engagements with our clients. So we consider there's 3 steps in hosting an event. Pre-event, during event, and post the event. So the pre-event services and capabilities that we offer to our clients really fall into 2 buckets. One, helping promote the event, which is being able to promote the event in multiple channels. So it's email, social media, and helping design and create the content for that. That helps transition the messaging a little bit away from what folks are more traditionally used to in the way of in-person events. Our goal being to maximize registration and participation. That could also be physical mailers as well. Once folks register, they can come in and build their schedule, create their own profile, put an avatar onto their profile, things like that. The second element of the pre-event that we're directly involved with our clients is designing and ideating the overall experience that you want to create, organizing and shaping the rooms and the flow of people throughout the event, so that then we will take that and begin to construct and configure the platform to support that. And then into the actual day of the event, when the attendees enter an event, they're presented with a variety of functionality and capability. Those things, some of those are listed here, being able to do live stream keynotes, video presentations, pre-recorded sessions. Any of those things can have a live Q&A associated to it. We provide a concierge desk to help answer any questions that somebody might have if they're lost in an event. We also provide technical support on the back end too, and make sure that all the trains are moving and running on time from a technical standpoint. A few other things that you'll see in the platform is kind of our chat feature, which you can be done via text, as a phone call, or an actual video chat with another attendee or a peer. I mentioned that data is very important in these events. We can collect data in a couple different ways. At a basic level, tell you what sessions garnered different number of attendees, how many folks went to different sessions. At a higher level, we can actually follow individual members around, attendees around, and give you the data about that. That data can then be used to create programs like gamification or rewards for active participation by those participants. Many of the events that we work on include multi-hour, and so our clients are looking to provide a little bit of outlet or way to decompress to the attendees. So this is during the event, some of the more fun aspects that can be delivered. So happy hours, lunch breakout rooms, concerts, live engagement, and entertainment. Could be, and beyond music, it could be chefs, mixologists, magicians, things of that nature. And other capabilities that we include to help decompress is around the notion of being able to include gaming breaks, and you'll see that in the demo as well. Once the live portion of the event is completed, we look at being able to configure the platform for a post-event experience as well. The idea here is to be able to provide accessibility to the information for folks that want to come back and watch something, or if they happen to miss a piece or two, they can come back and watch that. We typically can configure this to last as long as a short, making it available after the live event, as well as limit even some of the content as needed. Lots of benefits involved with hosting virtual events. I think some of these things folks have already recognized and realized, but certainly costs around travel, lodging, food and beverage, venue, things of that nature. The time required for presenters and attendees, as well as just navigation amongst an event, it can take a while, depending on, especially if you're in Vegas, trying to move between rooms at some of those venues. The burden on resources of your own staff is certainly reduced as well. And lastly, the benefit around the data, I'll point out, right, being available in real time or shortly thereafter in the event. So I'll just touch on a couple of high-level components again here as we transition over to the demo. So we are a full service partner with our clients, all the way from ideation and promotion through the day of the event and even the post-event support. It's a fully branded experience, more than just a logo, color, font, background images, things of that nature. Our navigation construct is one that we took the approach of making it very simple and easy for the user to navigate, such that nobody gets lost and everybody is there to be able to receive the information they're hoping to get, as well as connect with other peers. It is browser-based. We'll see that here coming up. And yeah, we'll touch on many of these things here. This is the list of capabilities and features that come in the platform. Many of these things you'll see as we walk through the demo, but there's kind of this a la carte list. Any of these items can be turned off or on for an event, and even if there are new ideas or new functionality that somebody wants added to event, we can customize that as well. So Scott, I think it is over to you for the demo.
Yeah, I will give that the rights to Scott. If you don't mind, Arnold, why don't we take a quick pause though and ask if there's any questions from the audience at this level?
Sounds good.
So anybody, I'm checking the chat box. I'm not seeing anything per se. I guess we're okay on that. It's certainly, I'm going to say one of the benefits that you may not have listed, the fact that it's multiple people from a company can now come to the same conference. We don't have to pick who's our representative, and then we don't have to go to 17 different sessions, taking notes and taking it back, and then having a meeting after the conference. Here's what I did. It just strikes me that, in all honesty, when you put it in the context of what we're experiencing today because of COVID and such, that we're recognizing that the conferences and the way you're changing them in this platform literally could change the face of conferences in the future. And I'm sure that's your end game, if you will. But I have to say, it's amazing how we are adapting and seeing it. I'm eager to see your exhibit hall, because that's been probably the most contentious thing that has been missing in the virtual conferences that I've attended. It's to really shall we say, interact with the people that I would normally walk around on the floor and meet with. So I think we're looking good here, Scott. We're back on for you. And
Arnold, can I ask you a question?
oh, I'm sorry.
Yes,
That's
ahead.
okay. This is Leslie August. What is the target audience that you're looking at for using your service? I mean, what size conference, maybe by number of attendees?
Yeah, so we've hosted anywhere from 30 to 1,000 people. And it can be, what I would say is the complexity of the event is really the limiter. So if you have a really large audience and you have a lot of rooms and sessions, there's a lot of thought that needs to go into the user experience and the construct of that to keep it simple. If it's a shorter event, or you could have a lot of people, but the user experience is still fairly straightforward because you only have 1 or 2 rooms. So that's one of the key factors, just kind of how many sessions and rooms and parallel tracks would go into an event, but that's kind of our general range. I would say also that, what we do see in terms of registration and attendance rates, registrations are higher and average attendance rates are higher because of the efficiency and flexibility of more people being able to attend these types of events.
And does this, so would this also replace like your virtual event software, like if you're using GoToMeeting or Zoom or whatever, or is that in addition to this?
So you'll see here in the demo, we are using Zoom as well, but it's embedded inside of our overall platform. So Zoom's the delivery of the video mechanism, if you will, but there's a number of other engagement factors to replicate that feeling of being at an event, right? So the chat, the Q&A, the lounge area, things like that.
Okay, great.
And I apologize, Arnold. I have one last question. This is Leslie. Thanks for keying my brain forward here. No, so I'm curious about the perspective where you've had a conference that is really more global in nature. The time zones probably present a problem. So how do you recommend people to conduct it? Are you finding that people are maybe outside the time zone that is being conducted, quite literally looking at recorded versions versus interactive versions or live or that? Just kind of your general sense of what that means when we're considering something like that.
Yeah, that's a good question. So there's kind of 2 tracks or two paths to that. And sometimes global can be manageable if you're talking, say, Europe and US, right? If you're trying to hit all 3, Asia, Europe, and North America, that gets a little more challenging. So in that scenario, I would say, we are shortening some of the times, right? So you might have a multi-day event, but shorter time windows of 2 or 3 hours, so that if folks are getting up early or staying up late, that they've got a much shorter window that they're having to participate in, but you stretch the event over multiple days. That's kind of one way. The other is, and in that version, we're still allowing for the live engagement component, right? Because people are actively there when the event is happening. If that's too, if it's too hard to kind of organize or structure it that way, then the other version is, as the events or as the presentations are delivered in kind of the core time zone, then all that material, like I mentioned earlier, is being recorded and accessible for some period of time afterwards.
Great, thank you. All righty, yep. Scott, I think you're on.
Yep, yeah, we'll go ahead and get into this. So yeah, for today's demo, like I said, I'll be kind of playing the role of an attendee. So essentially, I'm going to have you guys following me along as I'm navigating Tiger Pistol's virtual event. There might be a couple points where we get a little bit of feedback. Just we've got a little Zoom, video stuff going on. So if that does pop up, just be aware of that. So I'll go ahead and get started. So Tiger Pistol emailed out a link to this registration page. I'm going to go ahead and fill this out. I'm gonna pop in my Twitter handle here. Jot down my password. So once I've got that set, I'm going to go ahead and log in to the platform. Like Arnold mentioned, this is just a single sign-on. I'm not going to have to mess with any other passwords, meeting IDs, any of that stuff, which is nice, just making it very easy for the attendees to use. So I'm greeted here with my profile page. Tiger Pistol sent out a training video the week before the event. So they've kind of showed us some of the different features of the platform, how to navigate. And one of the things that they suggested we do right off the bat here is to go in and edit our profile. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, give myself a profile picture here. Let's see, it's not letting me do that. There we go. I will also throw in a cover photo. So get a little YALO action here. This keeps popping up on my share screen. That's why it's not working. And then I'm going to also throw in my job title here. So that all looks good. I'll go ahead and update this. The other thing they mentioned is to go into the account section, and if we wanted to edit our privacy settings, we could do that here. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look at this. So it looks like I can hide my profile if I wanted to from the directory. I can also either decide to show my online status or not. So I'm going to leave those both activated. I want to do some networking for, during this event. So I'm going to leave that as is. So I think the profile looks good. I'm going to go ahead and hop over to the lobby. We'll get started here. So it looks like at the top here, these are all the upcoming sessions. And kind of scanning these session descriptions, I think I'm for sure going to want to check out this 12 o'clock session on billing. So I'm actually going to go ahead and use this add to calendar function. I'm going to add this to my Outlook. It's syncing up right now. So I've got that one added to my calendar. And then our company is exploring DocuDraft right now. So I definitely don't want to miss that one. That will be the next session coming up. So I'll definitely want to make sure I attend that one. Oh, up here, right, I remember this from the training video. This is a take notes feature. So you can jot down your notes throughout the experience, save it, and then even export it to Word. So that'll come in handy during the sessions. What else? So we've got, looks like Dell and Cisco are the featured exhibitors here. So I definitely have got a couple questions for Dell. So I'll make sure I stop by that booth in the exhibit hall. And then down here at the bottom is the concierge desk that Arnold mentioned. And actually, while I'm here, I've got a question. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this in. The Tiger Pistol does a lot of work with Facebook, and I've got a question about some of their new COVID policies. So I'm going to go ahead and jot down a question here. Where can I find info on Facebook's new COVID policy? So hopefully they'll get back to me on that one. Looks like we've got some attendee chat here going on the right side. I'm curious if anyone is actually using DocuDraft. So I'm going to go ahead and pop in a question here into the chat and see if I get a response. Does anyone use DocuDraft? Oops. Excellent. Looks like I got a response from Arnold. Hey, Arnold. Our company is exploring this product. open to a quick video chat. Right on. So one of the things they also showed us in the training video is how to start a video chat with someone. So all I have to do here is click on Arnold's name. And then click the video call button at the top. This is now going to bring up my video camera here. Arnold is going to sync up now, and then we can kind of go back and forth on our video chat. How's it going, Arnold?
Good. How are you, Scott?
Doing well. Appreciate you hopping on. I really just had a couple quick questions, mainly just interested in the fee structure for DocuDraft. Could you maybe share a little bit of info on that?
Yeah, currently our fee is based on a per month basis, but I heard that the session at 11 o'clock, they're going to roll out a new pricing structure.
Okay, maybe we should head over. It looks like that session's about to start right now.
Sounds good.
Cool, maybe I'll catch you in the lounge later. See ya. That was easy. Let's go ahead and pop into the 11 o'clock session. Again, all of these are just one click to join. This will be Zoom, so this is pretty easy as far as navigating. It looks like we've got Chris on the other end here on his Zoom. He's already started his presentation, and I'm kind of curious if he's going to mention anything about the pricing. So you know what? I see this Q&A module here. I think I'm going to go ahead and pop in the question and just see if he responds. You go over pricing for us. See if he gets back to us on that. At the bottom here, Arnold was talking about the review. Looks like I can go ahead and rate Chris's presentation, leave some feedback. And oh, it looks like he's responded about pricing. I'm going to go ahead and actually jot this down so I don't forget it. Looks like it's $13 a month per user. Let's go ahead and save that. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and export it to Word. Here we are. Little issues with the screen share, but all right, so we've got the notes saved. I guess I'm not going to make you guys sit through the rest of Chris's presentation here. So let's go ahead and leave him some feedback before we get out of here. I'm thinking I'm pretty picky, so I'm going to go ahead and give him 4. No one really gets 5. So great session, Chris. We'll go ahead and give him some feedback. And let's hop into the main live session, see if there's any other content we might want to check out. I really like that this left main menu here is persistent throughout the experience, just makes navigating easy. I like the Twitter feed, that's a nice touch. Let's see. 3 o'clock looks good. I'm gonna add this one to my Outlook as well. Good to go there. And then I think this was a panel discussion that I missed. So I'm going to go ahead and click in here. And I was told that we can, yep, this was the panel discussion. So I was told we can go back and watch these at any time. So that's pretty cool. I think I'll go ahead and I will come back to this one later this evening. I'll be sure to leave some feedback for them as well on that one. I think I'm going to head over now to the exhibit hall. Had a couple questions for the Dell dude. So let's see if someone's in the booth so we can maybe have a discussion here. It looks like we're running blue jeans for this one.
Hey Scott, how are you doing?
How's it going, Chris?
It's going well.
Excellent. You have some time to chat real quick?
Actually, Arnold has an appointment right now, but if you want, you can make an appointment in this button over here, schedule some time with me, or you can just pop a question in the private chat down here, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, I'll do that. I appreciate it, Chris.
Yeah, you bet.
Take a look here. It looks like scheduled time with me. So we've got some Calendly functionality built in here. That's really nice. So I can pick an available time and schedule a meeting with Chris. Oh, that's very handy. All right, we'll come back to this later. Let's go check out, I want to see what's happening in the Cisco booth. Let's see if they've got anyone here. Looks like no live attendant here, but they've put up a company video that I could watch while they're away. That's very nice. Looks like we can download some white papers as well here on the side, and we've got a little chat going on. Very nice. We'll have to come back and maybe see if we can catch Chris at a later time. I was actually supposed to meet a coworker in the lounge. Let me see if Max is here yet. This is an area where we're actually going to have our mixologist come in later on. Let's see if Max is here. Oh, it's Arnold and Chris again. Hey guys, nice to see you again. Again, huh? Seeing you guys everywhere. I like the little Tetris we got here. Very cool, but I don't see Max. So I'm gonna let's see if I can catch him, track him down in the network area. I'm just gonna search for his name here. Max, here he is. Leave a message here. Meet me in the lounge when you arrive. All right, so let's do that. Actually, I think I'm gonna go in and check my messages just to be sure here. Yeah, it looks like Tiger Pistol got back to me on the Facebook question. They appear to be directing me to another section here. It looks like resources. So let's hop over here. Oh, very nice. It looks like we've got the link to the exact info I was looking for. So let's hop in here. Looks like this is going to take me to their website. This is perfect. I'm going to bookmark this and come back to this later. Very cool. Well, looks like I've got some time to kill, so I think maybe I'll just head back over to the lounge to play some Tetris while we answer any questions you guys have.
Yeah, so that's a wrap on the demo. So hopefully you guys found
Your time is great, Scott.
entertaining while we were delivering the information.
Excellent.
Now check out my Tetris skills here. Let's see.
Looking good. Yeah, you do have a couple of questions out here, Scott. I was just curious if you were going to take them. So, yeah, well, Leslie, go ahead and open up your mic and go ahead and ask yours. And Roy, if you don't mind, same thing when we're done with her question, go ahead and ask yours.
Yeah. First of all, really cool. There's a lot of features in there that that I haven't seen in other event experiences in 2020. So really interesting. I'm wondering about the registration process and integration with an existing payment, processing. So how do you do the payment of your registrant totally separate, or is it integrated into the platform?
So that can happen one of two ways, Leslie. Let me hop back on video here since we're done with the demo. Here we go. Two things. One, we can do the registration. We've made it an add-on module because one of the things we found as we were working with clients is that some clients historically in their own events have used some other registration platform. And so if that's the case, we didn't want ours to be an impediment to that. So if you want us to do registration, that's an add-on module. If you have something already in place that you process taking registrations and payments through, that's fine too. And then what we would do is when Scott showed that login at the beginning, right before the event, we would take an extract of everybody that's registered from you and load it into our system.
Okay. Okay, but is there a way to register people in, well, first of all, is there a benefit to registrants having access to your platform well in advance of the event itself? So are there features that we'd want to have people have access to? And then if they pay through our platform, do they get access to those right before the event?
So again, we can do it both ways. So if you wanted to have material and information accessible ahead of the event, we have done that. So like training videos, like Scott mentioned, having a piece of content that explains how to engage and navigate the event, we can, you can have something that's ahead of the event. If you guys are still, if you're going to process those payments on your end, as you get those, you can feed those to us, and we can, maybe there's a slight delay, half a day or 1 day delay, but we can have those people added to our system on an ongoing basis as well. So either way works.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Yep.
So Roy, go ahead and ask your question, and I think I'm gonna fall right on the tail of yours for a moment. Go ahead.
Okay. I mean, you sort of answered this question with your demo, but I was wondering, what do you consider to be the main differentiators between your platform and some of the other conference platforms?
Yeah, great question, and there's no shortage of them out there. There are a number of them. We recently won an award with Smart Meetings, which is an event planning organization for our platform, based on kind of two things. One, the simplicity. We've seen many of these platforms that are, kind of making the visual of it look more exciting. In that sense, you're placing you in a meeting hall or in a lobby of a building, that kind of 3D kind of rendered kind of space. But what we've heard and learned from a lot of folks is that gets confusing. While it might look engaging on the face of it, being able to move in and out of rooms and finding your way throughout an event has become challenging for some folks. And so we've decidedly taken a very simple user experience approach to it, to let the event and the content itself be the excitement, and not so much, some visual representation of a hall. So our navigation and user experience being one of the differentiators. Second, I think our analytics on the back end is another differentiator, because we can go down to the individual person level and show you exactly what that person did throughout their entire life cycle of the event.
Yeah, I also like the interactivity, the live feeds to other people. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah. So I may ask you, Arnold and Scott, if you don't mind taking us to your analytics here, maybe as we're moving, but I've got a small list of questions again, but let me ask the audience, any other questions of Scott or Arnold at this point? So let me give you some points from the browser perspective. I can tell you that many times I've heard, when we're doing virtual conferences, that my company's firewall prevents me from getting out to your conference. It sounds like you've solved that one very nicely. I believe that's if I can get to the internet, I can get to your conference, and that's it's very nice feature. I saw in your presentation lunch and DoorDash. Now DoorDash went public and they went to $189 a share, so the lunches are going to cost us a little bit more, I'm afraid. But considering, but can you describe what that might look like from, let's say, the event planner's perspective? What are they attempting to do? I mean, certainly this idea at conference, sometimes I get a quote unquote free lunch. I think I paid for it in the conference fee, but can you describe a little bit how that might work mentally, and also the advantage of doing something like that?
Yeah, so, again, one of the things we hear a lot in our conversations with clients around these types of events is the lack of kind of intimacy and, personal interaction amongst peers, right? So anything we could do to minimize those barriers as much as possible. Certainly we'll never get back to being replicating the in-person, but in the case of like using a DoorDash for that, our goal is to give arenas throughout the events where you can have some more of that interpersonal connection. So breaking the tables down into the lunch period down into smaller tables that you would put 6, 8, 10, 12 people into that might have a common topic that they want to talk about. And those are things you can gather as part of the registration and then organize those tables accordingly, when you get to the lunch period. And then that way everybody kind of moves to their own space. They're in a group that they can have a conversation with. It's not 100 people trying to talk all at the same time. And then as far as the food delivery aspect, DoorDash and Uber Eats offer these programs where you can buy multiple meals from them and have them all coordinated in terms of the delivery on their side. Sometimes there are limits in terms of the types of restaurants that they'll work with by geography, but there are programs where you can kind of organize and schedule all that through them so that they get delivered from those, by that service from those restaurants at a specified time.
That's a great, and you'd mentioned, I hadn't thought of, but the idea of accentuating the whole networking. Quite often you'll go to a conference and you'll see maybe if you have a topical thing that's maybe product oriented, there's a payroll and there's an HR table and so on. So people kind of aggregate to their interest areas. It's kind of a cool idea. I hadn't thought of that, but that's a very, very interesting way in which to promote that continuing networking, making new friends. Although sometimes you see the people in the same company sitting at the same table, I try to break that up if I can. And it's usually when I go to sit at the table that breaks it up. Very quickly, I'm curious about the perspective. I'm going to put the hat on of an association putting on an event. Based on the fact, and I haven't asked you the pricing question, so I'm sure we'll get to some ballpark perspective, but usually the amount of money that goes into the cost of holding a physical conference is enormous. Now, vendors are paying a lot to be there. You're paying as an association for the hotel, for the food, or all these other things. Are you seeing a reduction in the overall cost of holding a virtual situation? And are you seeing customers passing that on in a sense to both attendees on one side and reducing the cost of registration and conference attendance, and that for the vendor side?
Yeah, so great question. We don't always get the inside scoop on how much a client was spending on an in-person event in the past, right? But what I would say is that to be able to compare our fees and how we do these compared to what an in-person might have cost. But what I would say is that most of these events are a lot of times to the customer, to the attendee, costing much less and or even just being free. So for example, Adobe, which runs a very large conference every year out in Las Vegas, for their product conference, this year held those virtually and they were free to attend. In the past, it's like $1,500 or something to participate. So I think I heard that they had a tremendous amount of attendance at this event this year. Again, A, because it was free, and B, because the logistics and the flexibility to be able to attend the virtual event worked, in everybody's favor. So they had a max attendance, if you will, to that event. So that's kind of what I've seen as far as how companies are approaching the cost structure to their customers or to their attendees, is because the other elements of the in-person components of the food and the venue and the happy hours and all those things not being there. So on the flip side, to the vendors, I do see them still charging for sponsorship fees and partnership fees to play different roles throughout the conference. So in this case, right, like you're seeing here on this lobby page, the featured exhibitors being Dell and Cisco would have paid more for that placement in more prominently here in the lobby of the event, right? When you move over, Scott, if you go over to the exhibit hall, other things we could do is being able to tailor this page to show platinum, gold, silver levels of sponsorship as well, and those being tiered in terms of how you would have those folks pay for those sponsorships. So those are a couple of things. If you move over to the lounge, Scott, you'll see that the lounge in our example here was being sponsored by Dell as the virtual happy hour, right? So there's a variety of ways we can inject opportunities for the sponsors to A, pay, and B, have their brand more prominently placed throughout the event, and or even do ads as well.
It's a little bit of a, I'll call it a website design where I can put you prominently or over in the small corner and you have to find you somewhere in there. So no, that's very, very cool. Leslie has asked a question. I hope I pose it well because I think it's something that I think I would love to know. Is this a platform that we could consider for using often? In other words, once we work with you and maybe set a template of the way in which we want to hold a certain event, what if I had an event once a month or once a week or an educational event? Can I set up something to a bit of a pattern to both reduce the costs and keep it very, very, entertaining, but not overly costly for me? Or is this really geared for the big stuff? Did I get it right, Leslie? I think.
I understand what you're saying. We get that question a lot because we do have clients that are looking to do, more of a subscription use of the platform. And we have others that, are going to have one, maybe two events a year, and that's more kind of a project, singular event sort of thing. So, and generally what ends up happening there is in the project sense, those are a little more complicated because they're bigger, they're longer, and there's more things happening inside of those events. And so those are a little more complicated to ideate and construct and design. The ones that are going to be more repetitive, there's an initial, design and build out for that. But then, like I said, in the subscription model, presuming that most of the content and then the structure of the event typically stays the same because you're running them repeatedly. You might swap out a presenter or a piece of content here and there, but the structure of the event itself stays roughly the same. The branding stays pretty much the same. And in that sense, we kind of shift our pricing model to be more of a subscription basis that gets spread across X number of months and X number of events.
Great. Now, I think you hit the straight. In my mind, the key point is the consistent branding of my attendees coming to, do new subjects, but same presentation format. I'm very used to it. It's just like going very familiar, if you will. And I think that's actually a very big positive. Another question that came out of Leslie's perspective as well. Could I, or do you have a way in which I could use in the early registration perspective a preview of your platform to really get people very excited, the idea that this is so different? Yeah, the conference is attracting me because of the subject or whatever it is, but your platform might be enough for me to say, I definitely want to go to this one. So do you have a preview tool or something like that that would allow the registrants or pre-registrants to look at, to get a feel for this?
We've had that request before. What we would typically try to do is, give a limited access to the event space. Obviously, there's not much they can do in there, right? Because the content's not being delivered yet. So what we have delivered in that pre-access is kind of like the training video that Scott mentioned, right? Folks can come and get the scoop. They can set up their profile and put their pictures in there, like Scott did. That sort of stuff. But the rest of the venue is kind of wandering an empty hall 2 days before a conference would have happened. So there's not much else you could do there, but except maybe play Tetris or one of the games.
There we go. Any other further questions? We're coming up on the end of the hour here. On behalf of the Technology Review Council, Arnold and Scott, I want to say thank you. I had said that in the invite that you'd find it as an entertaining session. You guys have now proven me right. Appreciate that. Keeps my reputation up. Again, I think everybody else, certainly if you can't get a hold of Arnold or Scott, please call me and I'll get you connected with them if you're interested. You will probably see me coming back to you guys with some of the folks that I would drag from my associations to the table and say, you got to see this if you didn't see this. We have it on video. I'll be putting the link out there so you can all send it off to whomever you wish to do so. And other than that, Again, thank you all very much. Just a quick one for the Technology Review Council. We're going to do a little bit of a hiatus until, let's say, first week or mid-January. Just, shall we say, in a holiday spirit, let's go find out something else to do other than work and enjoy the holidays coming up and a new year. I want to wish everybody hopefully a much better and entertaining and much more profitable and healthier year in 2021. So everyone stay well, take good care, and see you all very soon.
Yeah,
All right.
no,
Thank
thank
you.
for
No.
having us
Happy
on.
holidays.
Thanks, Arnold and Scott.
Yeah, appreciate you guys having
Appreciate
us
it.
on. Scott
Nice
will
job.
Thanks.
link to the video with a short play of the demo as well.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
highlight. Yep, thank
All
you.
right. Well,
Thank
everyone,
you.
Happy
all right.